snipers coming up, which is good. This is absolutely what this style of Zerg play should look like. You get a bunch of roaches, you get a bunch of hydralisks, you keep a good position, you expand a lot. And Protoss is sort of going for the right quote-unquote counter to this, which is Colossi, but he may be doing it a little bit too early. Those Colossi are important in being able to fight the Zerg or push against the Zerg, but they're not actually that important in defending against the Zerg. Defending you can often do quite adequately with some cannons. He's got these Immortals out, which are great against the frontline roaches. He's got a good number of units, but he could have more if he had not been investing in this. He's starting to get his gateways up, but I basically think this is just a little bit late. I think his army is a little bit small, and Zerg is getting gigantic. And that sentry count, that is really the important thing here. If you see, he's only just now gotten gas at his expansion, hasn't even started mining there. SiKoBeaR really not valuing gas and sentries quite enough. You see he's got only 3 sentries with his group, and let's see, I don't think that this will go very well for the Protoss. Protoss should really run away, but just seeing about these sentries. Look at this, barely any energy in these sentries. How many force fields do we have? 3 here, almost 2 here, 2 here. So that's 7 force fields, and for quick conversion, a Guardian Shield is the same energy as 1.5 force fields. So he's putting up double Guardian Shield. Probably could get away with just 1. So that leaves him 4 force fields. So if you're in this situation as Protoss and you have 4 force fields, I don't know. I would consider canceling this Nexus, putting down 4 force fields right here, and backing up. Because, let's see. He has not started making this Colossus, but he could very well start making this Colossus. Yeah, well, like I said, it's just a tough situation for Protoss right now because he's fallen behind economically. This 3rd base is a little bit exposed, and he's invested a lot of money in this robotics bay, and he's going to have to invest in Colossi now, but... Oh, did I miscount the number of force fields? Oh no, I guess the Guardian Shields just went up before I counted the energy. So, Protoss engages there. Definitely bad news. Does cancel the Nexus, which is sharp, but this is basically it for the Protoss. Sending out an observer to see the army that is coming to kill him. Getting a bunch of units up here. Oh, well, this is an interesting building placement. Yeah. Notice that this one pylon is powering 6 gateways, a cybernetics core, and a forge. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's this one pylon here, but this is this one is powering at least these 4 buildings. Yeah. Anyway, I thought this kind of C shape is funny. Yeah, don't put your buildings like this. Leave some space for your units to walk through, because this is like perfect for getting zealots trapped in here or something. These bases are all going to go down. Anyway, so as for the Zerg player, this was pretty standard, so it's hard to find a lot to say, but it is important for GravityWave to tighten up some of those timings. Getting that 2nd queen out early, that's a really big thing that should be really in the front of your mind. Getting that Zergling speed out early. I noticed that that was a bit on the late side. Didn't get that right away. Once things sort of got into the mid-game, started to look really good. You got your Spire on the way at a good time to deal with Colossi. I mean, there's this 1 out, sure, but that's not going to do very much. He does manage to clean this up, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Anyway, so good timing on the Spire. Don't like the really fast Infestation Pit and Hive quite as much. I guess this is a somewhat reasonable time for it, but the thing is, These gases were maybe later than they should have been, and so you're going to have a hard time actually spending your money on broodlords. Might want to hold off for a little longer before rushing up the hive to make sure that you actually can spend on those broodlords rather than being able to afford 1 or 0 when you finally get that greater spire. Anyway, just generally really good looking play, but a bit messy, kind of overreacting in the opening. Did a good job holding off Protoss and building up that monster economy, which is definitely the right idea. But there were both some vulnerabilities, and so the fact of the matter is, as Zerg, sometimes you can get used to seeing a lot of Protoss playing not a very economic style. You know, they'll go 4-gate, and then if that doesn't work, maybe they'll expand and get Colossi. It's very, you see that a lot. So it's sometimes hard to remember, well, Protoss actually is a very, very powerful economic race because of Chrono Boost. Once they get their second Nexus out, they can produce probes at a really, really high rate. So it's kind of scary when Protoss does get this expansion up fast and really focuses on controlling the game macro-wise. And I think there was a moment here where GravityWave could have actually lost the economic edge, where basically he was so far pushed back that SiKoBeaR could have easily expanded without any hope of, without any fear of counterattack. And that's a hard position to be in as Zerg, because you rely a lot on that heavy economy. So letting your opponent overtake you by playing too passively is a big problem. It could even be such that you would never even get this third base, because Protoss would have so many units out of 6 gateways or something so quickly that you would just never be able to secure this third base. Zerg coming in, and that's going to be about it. Couple of pretty okay force fields going down, but of course you really can't do very much with just 3 sentries. Taking out that Colossus, and a lot more of these units continuing to just be crushed under the might of the Zerg forces. And GG there from SiKoBeaR. So yeah, I do agree that was pretty standard Protoss versus Zerg. But I guess I don't have very much to say about that game in addition to what I've already said. Fairly straightforward. I would like to see more games that people submit where they lost, because this game was a little bit of a steamroll, and that's fine. That can be entertaining, but I feel like this was probably this kind of thing would be more instructional for the Protoss player in this situation, because there's sort of more clear things to point out to work on. Might want to think about this Colossus timing, might not want to get that early Zealot out, might want to expand just a touch earlier when you're able to. Yeah, might want to scout better, those sorts of things. Whereas Zerg, I can really only, it's hard to say exactly where GravityWave would lose his games, although my guess would be defending too much too early and then losing to a later, bigger attack because of those missed early drones. That is about where I'm going to end this right now. But if you are watching this, if you are on Reddit, or if you're not on Reddit, go ahead and submit some games. You can send things to modulistack@gmail.com, or you can post them in my thread in the StarCraft 2 class Reddit. Post some games with Terran in them, because it's been a little while since I've done any Terran at all. And, you know, they deserve love too. They're a race just like Zerg and Protoss. Not as cool, I admit, but I mean, they're not a weird alien species, but we should give them some respect. And so submit your Terran games if you can. It was really funny. A lot of people expressed interest in in getting their games reviewed, but very few people actually submitted replays. So I know I've done several Zerg versus Protosses in a row, and it was either that or repeat the person in the replay. I've got another Ambiternal game, a PvP, which I might end up doing soon. Anyway, you don't want to hear me talk anymore, so I am going to say this is modulistack saying bye now.